It's happening, y'all, and it's about damn time. The Fire Mage rework for 10.1.5 is looking amazing. Say bye-bye to Rune of Power, Pyroclasm, having baseline, Flame Strike, and Quarterwise, and a couple of new additions to the talent tree just makes Fire Mage a juicy spec to start thinking about playing in 10.1.5. Now let's get into it and see exactly what the fuss is all about. So as I mentioned, first thing you will notice is that Flame Strike and Cauterize are now baseline. This makes for a much smoother playstyle transition, and you don't have to sacrifice too much if you want to go like full AoE or full single target and sacrificing one or the other. Cauterize is obviously really good. It's basically your cheat dead, so you don't have to like spend talent points into that. It's just there for all of the Fire Mages. One of the biggest things that could have happened, and this has been a long time due, is the Rune of Power being removed. When it first was introduced, yes, it was received with like mixed feelings. Some people really loved it, some people absolutely hated it from the beginning, but through the years, as the Fire Mage spec has changed and its rotation has changed, just Rune of Power just kind of hindered your movement and stuff. You obviously casted it once, it was automatically casted when you cast Combustion, but it would have required you to sit in one place or close to it, right? And also the fact that you had Pyroclasm and Sun King's Fury and all of that, and you always have to make sure you have to place it down. It would just not fun, period. So the fact that they removed it is great. Now, Pyroclasm has been removed from the talent tree, but it has been kind of cooked up into the new Sun King's Blessing. Now, Sun King's Blessing is the same as it was, but it has on top the extra percentage damage for your hard-casted Flame Strike or Pyroblast. This kind of bumps up the value of Sun King's Blessing, on top of the fact that the activation buff is also longer. It doesn't go out as fast as before. So this is very nice when you are in a Mythic Plus scenario and you quite oftenly lost that buff depending on how the tank moved around. This will give you a lot more time to have your Sun King's Blessing and activate it from pool to pool. Really nice quality of life improvement if you decide to play it. And I mentioned that because Sun King's Blessing is in direct competition with another talent, which is a new one called Unleashed Inferno. And this is basically your Combustion having Fireball, Pyroblast, Scorch, and Phoenix Flame deal 45% increased damage and also reduce the cooldown of Combustion by 1.25 seconds. Really good. It's just basically an alternative playstyle to like, hard casting Pyroblast from Sun King Blessing. It's a matter of choice, but I do feel that when you take things like Time Anomaly, for example, from the general talent tree, this will add a little more value to this talent here as well, because whenever you have like a random proc of Combustion, you will also tap into that cooldown reduction for Combustion, which is really nice. There's also Hypothermia, and basically when not in Combustion and you consume your hot streaks, you have a really low chance to cause all your Pyroblast or Flame Strikes to have no cast time and be guaranteed critical strikes for 6 seconds. This does happen pretty rare, but when it does happen, it's giga fun. You just basically throw out lots of Pyroblast instant or lots of Flame Strikes. It's really cool. It will have to be tested out more and simmed and see exactly what the procs rate are. Again, in my testing, I didn't have it too often, but when it did, it was really satisfying. Meteor has been moved strictly to the fire tree. It no longer splits the damage, but you do have the capstone, Deep Impact, which will have the Meteor's damage increased by 20%, but it will split evenly between all enemies. And it will also have its cooldown reduced by 15 seconds. So if you love that playstyle, it's gonna be great. It still has to be simmed if you want 100% performance. There's also Intensifying Flame. Really cool, as this will enable your ignite damage, basically your mastery, to hit harder in single target as well. It reads out while ignite is on 3 or fewer enemies, it deals 15% increased damage. I think this is really cool, as you will now have your ignite do well on both AoE and single target, no problem. In the general talent tree, you'll have Mass Barrier. This will have a protective shield as you have for yourself, for all of your party. This is really good for dungeons. You have the mass invisibility that was a PvP talent, now also being very useful in dungeons once again. Really cool that shifting power has been moved on top of the tree in the general talent tree. Another very great defensive change has been here with Ice Cold in the general talent tree. So if you don't really like the immunity of Ice Block, you don't like just popping that and being stuck there while not being able to do anything, Ice Cold will drop all of that. It will just have all of the damage taken reduced by 70% for 6 seconds, and you'll be able to do everything you want. Move, attack, all of that. And it's also off the GCD. Really, really cool, as it will also work great with Cryo Freeze. Cryo Freeze, like when you are inside of an ice block, you will heal for 40% of your max HP over the duration. So on top of a damage reduction, you also get a heal over time effect. Overall, these changes are looking pretty good and very promising. The fact that you get an alternative to Sun King's Blessing is awesome, and by the looks of it, it's looking to be a tad more stronger than Sun King's Blessing, but obviously there's still testing to go around and probably changes will still occur. The fact that your Mastery Ignite is also being addressed to be very great in single target as well as in AoE. Pyroclasm being baked into Sun King's Blessing, having that hard-casted Flame Strike or Pyroblast hit for like 275% more damage. Really, really cool. The activation time frame for your Sun King's Blessing being extended, also nice quality of life. Not to mention all of the improvements from the general talent tree. This is all shaping up to be a much better spec to play. I absolutely loved it. Hyperthermia being a blast when you do get the procs and just have, machine gun flame strikes and pyroblasts all over the place. It's just exquisite, especially when you just finished with your combustion. It's really, really awesome. The fact that you're not required to cast Rune of Power anymore, and you have Flame Strike baseline, and you have Colorized baseline, these are all positive changes. There's still a couple of things that need to be looked at. From the top of my head, I can think about the Living Bomb talent, which I used to love in the past, but it feels so weak. I don't think nobody plays it. There's also the Phoenix Flame situations, which are pretty shit without Alexstras's Fury, but you have to get from the ashes, and that basically kind of incentivizes you to press Phoenix Flames a lot more. There's a lot more discussion in the Acaris Mage Discord, which I do strongly recommend for you to check out. There's also the Wowhead first impressions from Preheat regarding the changes to the Fire Mage. It's overall positive, but obviously there's always room to improve. Are you a Fire Mage main? If not, are you thinking about maining? Because I'm sure having it on the top of my list. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you're excited, if you want some different changes. How do you feel about all this? I think it's about damn time Fire Mages get some proper reworks for the talent. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classical retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.